Hello and welcome to Sunrise Cardcast, your one-stop podcast shop for all things hockey cards. My name is Eric Andrews, also known in the hobby as Hammerhawks, and I'm joined by my co-host and fellow hobbyist Aaron Goldstein, better known as Crease Collector. And as you see on your screen, also joining us is honorary co-host of the show, Billy Celio, senior product manager at Upper Deck. Billy, thanks as always for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm torn right now because I was gonna sing some of the intro music and it was like doot, 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 doot. And then all of a sudden I was ready. I had the timing and the beat all set, and then all of a sudden it went to your guys' music and the bass, and I was like, oh no. Then I lost the beat and everything out of my head, and then you started talking and it just kind of ruined my singing vibe. But Mr. Hawks, I'm doing just fine.
So what you're saying is Billy Celio, product manager, Upper Deck / musical genius. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
I don't mean to brag, but I did have a scholarship in college to sing. I made fun of it quite often, but because I say that, but it is true. Now it was only a couple $100 because they
Oh,
needed
it's
guys in the choir, but
something.
yeah, I mean, it helps pay for a credit, so I'll take it.
That's perfect. Plus, none of us could say that we had a scholarship, for
Exactly.
college for singing. So it's just
I
bragging
think,
rights
I
for
don't
life.
know. I think Eric might have had one too, but he's just not telling us.
I can assure you that I did not.
That's great.
Anyway, as fun as it is hearing about our vocal capabilities, most of you are probably here hoping to hear about some newer products that Upper Deck has put out lately. We will be featuring 23-24 Skybox Metal Universe and 24-25 Series 1. And of course, both of those are products that Billy knows oh so well and are products that we enjoy talking about every year. So this should be a pretty fun night. We will start off with 23-24 Skybox Metal Universe. We do have a box to open here, compliments of Paul at Upper Deck. So thank you as always, Paul. We appreciate it. And kind of as we have done, of late, uh, I'll ask a question, we'll open a pack and kind of go back and forth that way. So we'll just dig right on in and get going. So first question that I have is we always really enjoy hearing about the design that is behind the Metal Universe base set. So, kind of a two-part question. What was the inspiration with the design this year? And with that, I know that there are different backgrounds throughout the base set as well.
So the inspiration, and I haven't gotten to do this yet. Now I've worked with Jean here and there, but not when she was like she kind of we contracted her out and she did a couple sets and worked on some stuff. But Jean's now been she's in one of our like director of design here now, and so I let her do her thing. To be honest with you, it's metal, it's universe, and she wanted to. I think she wanted to kind of bring back the old feel of the metal universe based designs. And as mentioned, she wanted to bring back the multiple different backgrounds and stuff. So you'll see plenty of different backgrounds in the background of the card. So you got your metal, you got your space. Like that's all the direction I give. And honestly, if Gene McLeod's designing it, I don't even have to give that direction. She's the one that started this set, like from a design standpoint. So it's great to have the architect of those designs working for you and making the designs for you. I mean, we'll go over some inserts that I obviously had a lot to do and say, and her and her team did a great job of interpreting it. But it's one of those things where I, I I let her control what's going on the base cards for sure.
Cool. Yeah. So, first pack, we have a rookie of Jackson Lacombe. And then I'm sure this will probably be the hit of the box, but we already have a PMG red numbered out of 100 for the Pittsburgh Penguins of Jonathan Gruden.
Nice. And you just
Nice.
got to one of the biggest misconceptions of this box is they see either an auto or a PMG and they think the box is done. We're going to go over a whole bunch of more inserts that I'm going to bang into your heads that are case hit level cards and box hit level cards that I don't think are getting enough love, and the scarcity just really isn't known. I think down the road you're going to see a lot of these cards. Like people are going to try to find. I'll use it as an example because we got a new Andre Fleury fan working with us, and I know Aaron's a
Mhm.
big one too. You guys are going to be looking for those Andre Fleury cards and Marc-Andre Fleury cards, and you're going to be like, where are they all? And it's because there's not a lot of them. They're harder to come by. So yeah, Eric, that is a big hit in the box, but there might be other hits in there also.
That's really interesting. We'll wait to talk about that stuff later, especially as we go through the box. But this is really good timing. We just were out here pulling PMGs, and it can't be a conversation about Metal Universe and not mention those PMGs. So this year, unlike years past, the PMGs follow a standard numbering system. For example, the red PMGs being truly out of 100, and the greens, for example, being an additional 10 cards. What went into the decision to sort of streamline or sort of replicate the I guess the modernized serial numbers when it comes to the PMGs?
I first give you kudos for an amazing segue into the next question. That was great. Um, so first off, obviously, if you do look at the retros, I believe the retros are still numbered the old way, where the first 10 cards are green, and 1 through 100 and 10 out of 100 are still the greens, and 11 through 100 and 100 out of 100 are the regular, or are the reds. Um, it was one of those things where the first couple years we did this, and again, these sets are built so far ahead of time. This set was built like a year and a half ago, and so because of that, like some of the feedback that we were seeing from the first couple years of building Metal Universes, people were not understanding the numbering because it was a kind of a, it's not necessarily gimmicky, but it's just a different clever way of numbering the cards, and people weren't getting it, and people were getting greens and not realizing they were out of 10, and they were selling them for much cheaper than they should have been. And yes, we would love to be able to educate the consumer, every single consumer, but unfortunately, not everybody, believe it or not everybody listens to this podcast or other podcasts, or reads the Beckett magazine or whatever. So um, we we had to kind of simplify it for people. That being said, we still said if we're using a retro design, and this is the way it was numbered, similar to the art ones, the Marvel art cards or the Marvel PMGs actually have the blues numbered out of 50 in them. In the Marvel set, so we kept true to that. Also, we tried to keep true to the retros, but the PMGs moving forward are all numbered out of 10 and numbered out of 100, so people really know what they have without, there's a lot of new hockey collectors, and there's not, you're talking about people that understand numbering from the 90s. There's a lot of new hockey collectors that just didn't understand it, so we were just trying to help them out.
Fair enough. I think that makes sense for sure. Second pack, we have a base rookie of William Dufour and an 0809 retro for the New York Islanders of Arnaud Durando. So I know we'll talk about that design in a second, but since we're on the topic of PMGs still, the 97-98 retro design has made a return this year for select rookies. Obviously, it's a small checklist and it's just for PMGs, but bringing back that iconic design that everybody knows so well. So what prompted the inclusion of those 97-98 retro PMGs for those rookies?
They're big hits, and we recognize that they're big hits. So we didn't want to do, like, I wanted to do different PMGs, but it's such an iconic design. We're like, okay, this would be a big hit, and obviously, like, I didn't want to not. I did. Is that a double negative? I wanted to have a Bedard using that design. I did, and you'll see in the future we actually have gotten rid of, except for the comic book style. We've actually gotten rid of all the retro designs for the metal next year. And yeah, pretty much for the metal next year. So it's kind of funny. People complain that there's too many PMGs out there now, and then people also complain if they get a box. Aaron, let's be honest. If Eric didn't pull a PMG in his box, he would have been disappointed. He would have been like, "Oh, I didn't get a PMG." And like they almost expect
People love the PMGs,
they
of course.
they expect a PMG. they want a PMG, but then you also are told you're making too many PMGs, and it's just like, what do we do? Well, we're gonna cut back. Um, but I really want to answer your question, Eric. I really wanted to have that retro design used for a counter Bedard. And that's why we only did like the top 10, because it's just a number of cards that fit on a form that we're already using for something else. So that's what we did.
Cool. While on topic of retro designs, there are included in this product the more basic level 0809 retro rookies, as well as the continuation of the ones you mentioned just a while ago with the 2013 comic book themed retros. What can you tell us about those sets in particular?
Again, I wanted to go back and use like I've mentioned before with something like Metal Universe. When we first built it, I didn't want to build like a Fleer. Fleer Retro had all the old designs of there was a bunch of Skybox, a bunch of Fleer designs. I didn't want to build the Fleer Retro. I wanted to kind of ease our way into it each year, where we have some different inserts come back. And we'll talk about more of them, I believe, down the road in this conversation. But that was a different PMG design, or a base card that had a PMG. I just wanted to bring back another one. The previous year we did a different design, so that's pretty much the point of bringing that one back. And then the Marvel ones I just really like. It's a different style. The cartoons, I enjoy seeing those. I'm telling you right now, my favorite card next year. I don't know if I'm allowed to show stuff, but I'll just tell you. It's a Lucas Raymond, and it literally has like a car flying behind him, and it says like Raymond as a license plate. It looks like a right out of the Dukes of Hazard. It's amazing. Like I'll be that's on my wish list for sure. They're just fun. You can have fun with some of these things. You can make some of these little scrawny guys look absolutely ripped and huge for a trading card. So that's the purpose behind those. Is just, hey, these are PMGs also, and our entertainment products have like we do a lot of the same sets in entertainment as we do in sports, and it's always interesting. We always bring sports designs into entertainment, but we rarely bring entertainment designs into sports. So it was kind of my way to do that.
Cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for sure. Next pack, we have a base rookie of Justin Sordiff and our first premium prospect of Luke Evangelista. Those have a really nice rainbow finish on those. Next question for me. I know there's a couple of space-themed inserts, which, shocker, it's Metal Universe, but there are a couple of space-themed inserts in the 9.461 EKM cards and the T-Tori phase set. I know that there's probably a lot of people that don't necessarily understand what those things mean. So if you could explain the inspiration behind those names, that would be great.
So the first one, unfortunately, you'll learn, and I think I've told you, there's insert names that are already copyrighted, and I wanted to do an insert called Lightyear, and Lightyear was already Buzz Lightyear. Disney, I believe, has the rights to using that on trading cards. So that number is actually like a light year. Uh, is what it's used. So that's where that came from. And then I just, sometimes I will just kind of search different space things, different stars, different, like, just kind of, like you said, it's part of the theming. Looking for different types of metals and looking for different types of space related things is some of the stuff that I do when I'm thinking of insert names, and that's where the other one came from. So it's just part of it is what what we're allowed to use, and the other part is just, like you said, theming along space.
That's really cool, and I think you don't have to get too in depth about this one, but I'm assuming that's where the constellation set as well kind of came from. That's that space themed sort of thing that you were going for, and taking it full advantage of that.
So I think it's out there now. I'll tell you the concept, and I think I've said this a couple times now. The concept was really to make like a big map, a big space map, and the players' heads are like the planets. And so if you actually put all of those together, they all connect somehow. So like one through
That's
whatever.
pretty cool. That's
Yeah,
something
so
I didn't know.
it's one big space map, and the heads are the planets. And yes, they look ridiculous by themselves. And I've mentioned this before. I think there was a was it 1972 or something like that, the Canada Cup, or one of those, like Canada versus USSR. There's these like floating head cards too, in those that it reminded me of after the fact. But um, yeah, and and we kept getting like people asking about the heads, and I'm just like, yep, I want the heads even bigger. And that's what we got, and it was on purpose. It's a fun insert. It's, it's my cheddar. It's my what other things that I put in. I always put an oddball kind of insert into Metal Universe, and that's the oddball one.
Fair enough. Yeah, I know those have been polarizing. People think they're interesting for sure. Next pack up, my favorite one of the pack, Jacob Slavin base card. So that's a
There we
geeky
go.
card there. We also have a base rookie of Owen Beck. And this one will lead into the next question nicely. We have an energetic explosions of Matthew Kachuk. So yeah, my next question, looking at the rest of the, more common inserts, so to speak, what would you like to share about energetic explosion, and then things like meltdown, premium player, soul of the game, and Z Force?
Well, all the other ones that you mentioned are actually old inserts, Metal Universe inserts. The energetic explosions was supposed to be called something else. I don't have my build up in front of me. I think I've said this in other places, but unfortunately, again, that was one of those things that the insert name was already used. So energetic explosions is what it came. I think the background, it might look a little better if it was a little brighter. Sometimes the light effects, which is that foil on there, kind of eats away from some of the color, and sometimes it just looks really cool. You can see like there's a big explosion going on behind them. The problem is it's behind them, so you can't really see it. Um, that being said, some of the other, like Meltdown, is an old insert. Obviously, Z Force has a nice history, and I think Gene did a great job. All the backgrounds are different at the different levels and the different types of raving. I know Eric knows all about raving, but they those are fun. What were the other two? The other two,
Let me pull it up here.
Meltdown.
Um,
Sorry.
Premium player and soul of the game.
Oh yeah, but again, those were all Soul of the Game is an old insert, and that's fun where you have someone like Jean, and she she gets to take some of her old designs and redo them the way that she sometimes. When, like, the first time Jean and I worked together, it was one of those things where I had already briefed the product, and she had come on board to help work to design the stuff, and I already had stuff envisioned. And so um it wasn't as good of a collaboration, I guess you could say, because I had envisioned one thing, and then she kind of wanted to do another thing, and we met in the middle a lot. But this was one of those sets where it's like, okay, Gene, here's your inserts, make the next one. And she crushed a lot of these, and just redesigning it and rethinking it. And she does that in like Goodwin Champions also, Metal Champions also. Comes up with some of her old designs, and just reinvigorates them, and they look really cool.
That is awesome. Yeah, a lot of cool cards in this product for sure.
And she doesn't have a boneheaded product manager trying to tell her how to do her job.
Well, that's the thing. It's really cool when someone, I'm sure, as an artist, gets to sort of, re-envision these designs and kind of, go at it with like a modern or a more experienced kind of viewpoint, and kind of like, okay, I'm gonna, take another shot at this, and then, modernize it or whatever their kind of plan is, and kind of, take another shot at it. So that's really cool that she was able to kind of, relive these designs again and kind of give it, a modern feel, which is really really special. And I'm sure as an artist, it was really fun for her to do. um, Now we're switching things over to the goalies, as I love to talk about. Some of the inserts there, like the goose eggs and the net rages cards. What prompted these kind of themes for these goalie cards?
So I do like to do theming with my inserts. It's not just like superstars and power and you know whatever. So although I think vivacity. Okay, so I'm calling the kettle black there, but I always try to do it. You'll see in a lot of my sets of goalie inserts because, as we know, there's those great crazy goalie collectors. Usually like guys that play goal themselves all of a sudden become
Yeah,
goalie card
they're
collectors.
insane. Those weirdos.
And I try to do that. You'll notice I like to do a lot of enforcer sets too, inserts. Like that came from having a nice hour-long conversation with Tiger Williams at one of our upper deck events. Chris Carlin just kind of like, hey Billy, and maybe Chris was just tired of talking to him. I don't know, because Tiger Williams likes to talk. He's like, Billy, Tiger wants to talk to you. Come here. Pulls me over, and we had quite a long conversation. So for him, I try to give those guys some love, because it's like a lot of the inserts, it's the same people. Like if you do the same superstars over and over again, it gets kind of repetitive. Granted, you need a lot of superstar content in there, but you still want to find some love for the goalies and some love for the enforcers. Um, and like I mentioned, now that we have an employee that just loves all goalies, now you're probably going to see like he wants to do a whole goalie set. We're like, calm down, calm down. But yeah, so I had to give him some love, and like uh the whole the goose eggs, it was kind of fun. Like I was having it, and then I'm like, and then you make like, part of me was excited about the name just because, yeah, it's like a shutout, but then to have a rare insert called the golden goose, the kind of egg, the golden goose egg, that was part of the fun of that insert for sure. And Net Rages is actually another insert that's been done before, but it's a basketball design, and it's I'm like, net, this works perfect. This is like the perfect name for a goalie insert that I can steal from basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of going back to when we talked about, we have a constellations of your guy Dylan Larkin there, so you guys can see that,
That's cool.
Legend.
as well as a base rookie of Connor Zary. And then also, right on cue, we have first a base rookie of Arno Durando. But Billy, like you were saying, it's not just about the PMGs. There are a lot of tough inserts to chase. We were just talking about this one. We have a goose eggs of Jacob Markstrom.
See,
Ooh,
that's cool. That's a nice card.
that's going to Aaron.
That's
Oops,
really
this
cool.
way. That's going to Aaron, right?
In some way, yeah.
You get to keep some stuff. He gets to keep some stuff. That's Aaron's card.
That's super
Right.
cool. As a goalie guy, love it.
Yeah, those are 1 in 400 packs, so definitely
Oh,
a
wow.
solid pull there.
That's fantastic.
And what's fun is, like, I give direction, and then Jean will come to the desk and she'll be like, "What do you think of this?" And it's just like, this is not what I envisioned at all. Like when I saw, like, I did not envision like all these zeros with the space and stuff in between. But it's just like, this is a really cool insert. I loved it. I'm just like, but again, it's like, didn't know what to expect. In a set like this, sometimes I just come up with the ratios and the checklist direction on some, but other ones I don't. But like you were saying, Eric, this is a case hit level type card. You only get 2 PETG cards in a case, I believe, and you only get 2 die-cut cards in a case. So, and these are like, I think seven, like there's 30 something in each set. So like the die cuts, I think that's 100 cards. I think the PETGs might be like 70 cards if you add the two or the three insert. No, there's 3 inserts. So yeah, 100 cards, 100 cards. They each fall like 2 per case. So do the math. I mean, these are case hit level type cards. There's PETG inserts. So there's the Palladium, there's the Goose Eggs, and there's one more. Why am I drawing a blank? There's 3 PETG inserts. Palladium, Goose Eggs, and something
Noise
else.
boys.
No, Noise Boys is in a whole nother category. I should just pull up my build. I feel so unprepared right now. My bad. But there's 3, and there's 3 die cuts. There's the Net Rageous. I gotta pull up the build. I apologize.
No, you're
No
good.
problem.
Rookie
This is great stuff.
rookie mistake on my end. Um, we're talking about 2 different sets, so I didn't have this one. This one queued up. 23, 24, hockey. We're gonna fix this in editing? No?
It's no
This is
longer
what
an option anymore.
this is where you guys are like, yeah, Billy, we're gonna play this after you've been harassing us and making jokes at our expense. Now we're making jokes at your expense.
That's totally fine.
Payback.
All right, let me get to it. Exactly. So you've got the quick strikes. You
Mm.
got the quick strikes. That's the one with all the sticks on it. You've got the goose eggs, and you got palladiums. It's 100 cards. Uh, that's 2 per case. So just kind of do the math in your head of how many cases you think there are of this stuff, and you can tell there's not a lot. And then the die cuts, you've got the business, vivacity, and netrageous. Same situation, 100 cards, 2 per case. You have now 6 inserts, in my opinion, and we're not even talking jambalayas or noise boys or metallics. You have 6 inserts that are case hit level type cards. In my opinion, there's 9 case hit level type cards in this set, which is kind of unheard of. Like I think we added a lot of content in the set and a lot of value with these inserts that unfortunately some people I'm watching breaks and they'll hit a net rageous and just be like net rageous, put it aside. I'm like, bro, that's not even one a case that you're just throwing that insert aside.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, and this is something we probably could have mentioned earlier, but people are so focused on, autographs and memorabilia in products, and
Mhm.
that's not what this product is about at all. It's about those tough inserts and cool insert themes and designs and stuff. So, yeah, all of these fit very well into that. One that you just mentioned that, while we're on the topic of tougher inserts in the product, one that I've always liked since you introduced them are those metallics cards. What can you tell us about those cards this year in terms of the design?
It's the same concept. We've got it's a really nice sturdy PETG on top, rainbow foil board, or Spectrum Deco foil. They're beautiful looking cards. Our designers did a great job with them again, and I think this is the last year for a while for those cards also. So uh, sometimes we have some specific inserts, like 3 years is a good run. It's a good amount of time. You see them and then let them breathe for a while. Will we bring back metallics? Maybe someday. It's one of my babies, and maybe 10 years from now, uh, I'll want to bring it back or something. But yeah, this is the last year for the metallics cards for some time. And again, they're gorgeous cards. Again, they're one a case, and again, I think they're being overlooked in the community for, kind of cool big hit insert potential.
Awesome. That is really cool. Yeah, those cards are they're really, really sweet. Yeah, it's always cool seeing the kind of stories behind these things. It's really something. Um, so now we got the metal cards kind of out of the way. One of the other inserts that is making a notable return to hockey are the Noise Boys cards. What was the reason behind bringing those back?
So, I built another product and it had Noise Boys in it. It hasn't been released yet, but it's a different license. And they're on Rainbow Foil board. I think in the past, in the retro sets that we built, I think they were built on Rainbow Foil board. They weren't built on the original paper. And if you build an insert that wasn't built the way it was built in the 90s, that Jean built, she is very adamant that they get built the right way. So I learned my lesson. And she's just like, I want to do this. And you want to know what's funny about Noise Boys? I never got a Noise Boys when I opened up packs. They're actually like really thin cards. There's no like backing to them. It's just printed on that technology that the jambalayas are printed on, and they actually they'll go like you can do this with a Noise Boys card. They're very flexible and bendable. I've never known that because they're always in slabs now. Like, tell me the last time you've seen a non-slabbed, Noise Boys from the 90s. No, they're all
I've
slab.
never had one, so I wouldn't
Yeah,
know
exactly.
to
I
what
didn't
you're
know
talking about.
either.
Like I had no idea. So that's news to me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to pick one up just to see what they're all about, physically.
Yep.
But yeah, because like all the time you see them, they're all slabbed and whatnot. So That's interesting.
Yeah, so I didn't know that, and she's like, I want to make them this, like, this is the way they're supposed to be made. I'm like, that's how they're supposed to be made. That's what we're paying for, and that's what we're gonna do. Because it's obviously a lot more expensive to use that technology than to just put it on a rainbow foil board. So we did that, did the die cut, all that stuff. The cards look great, and looking forward for people to get their. I'm waiting for you to get one, Aaron, so you can see what I'm talking about because I had no
I
idea.
hope so
Jean
one
had
day.
to bring one of her own in to show me.
That's cool.
Awesome. So a couple more packs here. We have a Constellations of Troy Terry. And having pulled a few of these now, I see what you mean about like the map and them all fitting together. So that's really cool. And yeah, like something I did not notice prior to this conversation. So that's a really cool, just like added tidbit. And that's why we love having you on to share this stuff because I didn't know
Look,
that. It's cool.
I will admit they are not the most attractive cards in the world. But just again, having a little fun and but with a purpose, I guess
Mhm,
is the best way of putting it.
for sure. Next one, Aaron, this will be heading to you. It's a Premium Prospects of Dustin Wolf.
Oh, nice. Love that guy. That's a great card.
And then a couple of fairly decent rookies. We have Leo Carlson for the Anaheim Ducks
Nice.
and
Hey,
Connor
hey, hey.
Bedard.
Oh, wow. It's fantastic. There's the one.
So,
He plays hockey.
He does play hockey.
can
I think so.
confirm.
I think he plays hockey.
Yeah.
He plays something.
Any Bedard is a good Bedard. While we're on the topic of those tougher inserts, another one that is really interesting to me are the 1990 retros that are actually printed on a metal card. It's not really card stock; it's just a
Yep.
metal stock. What can you share about those, and kind of what makes those unique?
Man, I used to collect those cards. I have a bunch of them. I had a bunch of them back in the day, and it's just it's a unique design. But part of that was based off of we getting some metal samples from one of our vendors, and them showing us that they can make the colors a lot brighter. Because you see a lot of metal cards, and they're printed on it, and it's just kind of dull. And they had like a glossy finish to them, and the colors were bright, and I was just like, okay, let's think of some old Fleer designs and stuff. And I'm like, this is a cool, like it's never been done in hockey before. And I'm like, and it's Metal Universe. I go, let's bring this one back. And so that's where those cards came from. It's just we the metal looked cool, and I wanted to pick a design that those cards would look really good on. Like, what's the purpose of doing like a white card on metal? Like, it's got to have color on it if we want to take advantage of the coloring that these guys can do. So, did that, and again, that's another super rare. I think there's a ratio on that, right? On the
Yeah,
solicitation
there
and stuff.
is.
Okay,
I'll
so
I'll look it up and I'll find it. But go ahead.
I'll find it here. Again, there's Metal X. There's look at me, I called it Metal X. Shame on me. Yeah, they're 1 in 240, so they're
That's not
like
bad.
one a case.
Not bad at all.
Yep, you get one of those a case. Again, case hit. I've told you guys like 10 case hits and there's 15 boxes in a case. So there's a case hit level type card in so many of these boxes.
That's really cool. I love when you kind of truly take this deep dive into the product and you kind of do truly realize, especially with a product like this, that you can really extract so much. Um, I'm not going to focus too much on the monetary aspect, but personal, um, success when, you know, as a collector, if you want to rip into boxes and find some cool rare cards, I mean, this is a product that, as you can see while we're kind of going through it, it has a lot more value than meets the eye when it comes to these, super short printed products or, case hit here, a case hit there that people might not even realize, which is fantastic. And I really love that explanation about, you going to your vendor and kind of deciding what to do with this metal card and really wanting it to look good because I do agree that sometimes it is sort of dulled out, whereas these ones clearly when you look at examples of them, they do really pop. And so much so then when I saw them for the first time, I didn't realize they were metal cards, until looking at the product, a little bit more. So it's really cool how you kind of, you know, take an idea that's been done before and still try and push the envelope and say, okay, how can I make these types of cards better, and really do a service to collectors. So I think that explanation is really cool. So thanks for your insight on that. Another design is, of course, the iconic jambalaya cards, which feature a new design. What can you tell us about those? I mean, I think, for collectors who have been around the block, you know, they're no stranger to that. But what is your insight into that design? Again, just kind of keeping things fresh and but at the same time keeping the things that people love about that card still in the card.
So at this rate, I think people are going to think I'm addicted to pixelation. But you go to Comic Con, you go to these other places, and I see a lot of pixelation stuff for sale, like just like going around like entertainment stuff. Um, so my idea was like to do something. I just had a feeling, and thank goodness my feeling was right. But I had a feeling that type of design would just look really cool on the jambalayas, because there's times when when you turn those cards, like different parts of the card speckle or shine or whatever, and so you move it, and like it almost seems like different colors are lighting up each time when you're moving the card. So it is not norm. It's not the norm for a jambalaya card, and Jean even told me that this isn't kind of what she expects out of jambalaya cards. But I was kind of adamant that this is what I wanted for this design this year, and I think the cards came out great. We we nailed we nailed this year's design. I'm really happy with it, to be honest with you. And I'll give you a heads up too. Um, we are actually giving those a rest next year also. So, you know, not that they're going away, but it's, we hear people when they say, well, if you keep making the same stuff over and over again, they kind of lose some of their value. So again, and I've said her name not too many times, because this is like her baby. But in future sets of Metal Universe, we've given Jean more opportunities to create the next jambalaya, to create the next Noise Boys, and that sort of stuff. And I'm really excited for some of the stuff that I've seen. This is like the first this is like the first product that she's finally seeing of some of the work that she's done, or one of the first ones. I'm sorry, Metal Champions was one of the first ones. This is one of the first hockey sets that we've gotten to see, like what she's been working on with us. So she's excited. Uh, she's always, like you were talking about the vendors. Like we have our own personal vendor here too, and it's called Jean. Like she'll come by and like, look what I got. Check this out. Like, what do you think about this stuff? And now it's so exciting now to working with her, because she's constantly looking for new things, and new innovative things, because that's what it was all about back in the day. And so she's bringing stuff to our desk constantly. And now it's not like, oh, I'm building a set, I got to think of something. Now it's like, oh, I already remember she brought this by and I told her that I want to do it for the set. So it's like I already have specific inserts built for sets now before I even start building them, because she's shown us stuff that I'm like, oh, that'll be great in this set, and write it down and remember it. And then when you're building that set, oh, here we go, this is one of the things I wanted to do. And what's great about that also is then when you're trying to cost it out and figure everything out, you already know how much it is, instead of all of a sudden like wanting to do something and then you're like, oh shoot, I don't even know how much this costs. And then it delays stuff, or you can't do it. That was one of the problems with the metallics cards, is we just couldn't figure out how to do it. And so I put it in a set, and then we can't do it yet. And then I put it in a set. Nope, can't do that. And have to keep changing the set. Now she'll have the stuff ahead of time that we can then plan and get stuff out when we want.
That's super cool. I really like that. That one sentence that she's constantly trying to find kind of the next jambalaya card, and
Yeah.
I really like that. It's super cool, and it's good to know that she's always coming to you with different things to try and things like that, and it really does make for it makes your life easier as far as planning a product, and thinking about the future, because, like you said, it's much easier to kind of tackle a product or a new insert when you already have these ideas that you've looked at previously versus trying to get it approved or sourced out kind of in the moment. So that's a really cool kind of tidbit of information.
Yeah, definitely.
She's a good resource, that is for sure. Next few packs up, Aaron, another one for you, a base rookie of Dustin Wolf,
Nice. Like I said, love that guy.
as well as Ivan Miroshnichenko and Aiden McDonough and Ty Cartier. And then the inserts, we have our first Meltdown of Tomas Hurdle. Really cool background design on those. Another Premium Prospects of Luke Hughes, so a good name there. An 0809 Retro of Leo Carlson, so another good name there. And a Premium Player, and these are beautiful in person, of Mark Stone. Just a really nice finish on those, and they definitely have a premium look and
nice.
feel to them.
Yeah,
so that's
definitely.
cool.
Awesome.
I know we've talked about some of the tougher inserts in the product. We haven't talked about all of them in depth, but some of the other ones are Martensite and Palladium and Quick Strike and the Business and Vivacity, like you've alluded to a little bit. Is there anything about any of those that kind of stand out to you?
I like the palladium. If it's a different type of die cut. I think someone was telling me it's a pain in the butt to put into the sleeves, but too bad. um, and Vivacity, I think is one of those. It's just a cool kind of concept. I know people are liking the whole colors and stuff, but that was just based off of when I search stuff and I search like for colors and I search for designs and shapes and stuff like that. I saw something similar to that. And I'm like, that would look really cool as a background in a card. Um, they're bright. I wish they'd be even brighter, but I still think they look really nice. And then the Martin sights is a cool one. I was like kind of looking through some of our options from one of our vendors, and I saw that paper and I'm like, this looks amazing. Like, how can I put this in a set? And so I started looking up types of metal and found that one. I'm like, this would work perfect with this, and those cards are gorgeous. I actually wish I would have made those a little rarer, just because I think they look so nice. But I'm still happy with the way they turned out. And when you get one in a pack, it stands out. It definitely stands out, and it looks like something different than what you would get in a normal pack of trading cards.
That's awesome. Thank you for your insight as always on that. I'm sure collectors will watch out for those really cool cards. Before we move on to 24-25 Series 1, is there anything you'd like to add about Metal Universe?
Like I said, I think we listened to the consumer, and one of the things that they wanted was some more chase hits, and I think we really provided it. Like you said, chase hits are not always autographs, or PMGs or whatever. There's other ways to create chase hits, and I think our team did a great job of doing that. It's a fun set. It's a fun rip. I can't stop looking at Eric's smile on his face while he's opening it. There it is. There's that smile I was looking for. But yeah, that's about it. Hopefully, and I know we're going to talk at the expo. I think it's one of the I know it's one of the boxes that you can use for the wrapper redemption too. So I can't wait for people to watch a lot more people opening it at the expo, because I think they'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it's been a very, very fun break for sure. So, last few packs here, we have base rookies of Levi Marilainen, Matt Savoy, and Pavel Minchikov, so a decent one there. And then our last inserts, an 0809 retro of John Beecher. We have one of the T-Tori stars of Tyson Forrester. And then the last hit of the box in fitting fashion for us, a Z-Force for the Minnesota Wild of Marc-Andre Fleury.
There he is.
There we go. Especially after his last game in Pittsburgh last night. That was super nice.
That was a cool moment for sure.
It definitely was.
If Crosby didn't have so many restrictions on who he's allowed to be on cards with, I would love to make a card of that.
Game dated moment or something, that would be
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Metal Universe. Like I said, that was a really fun break. A lot of really cool cards, a lot of really nice looking cards. So, job well done to you and Gene and both of your teams on that. Switching over to 24-25 Upper Deck Series 1, obviously it is kind of the go-to flagship product that people are familiar with every year, but there's always so much to talk about with it. Um, First of all, this wasn't on our list of questions, but just the box design. I love the look of having the three different photos of McDavid on there. I think it just is a very visually appealing design for the box. So job well done to you guys on that. But
Are we
um,
talking about a different Series 1? Because I'm looking at Series 1 right here. I don't see McDavid on it anywhere, but I do
That's
see a lot
great.
of really cool. There's Hawkeye, Falcon
That
Winter Soldier, Loki, She-Hulk. We're not talking about this Series 1?
I don't think we're talking about what
Oh,
was that
this joke
Marvel?
this joke never get this joke never gets old for me. Yep.
That's great.
Stuff's loaded.
it's a
Oh
But
different
anyway,
man,
podcast.
it could
But
be this one someday.
true, yeah,
no,
maybe.
I've heard so many compliments on the box, and that's our brand team finally not putting a Vancouver Canuck or a Colorado Avalanche guy on the box. I'm joking. We have some fans of specific teams, and whenever we see one of those players on a box, we tend to harass them a little bit. But no, our brand guy just tried a little something different, and I think the design's awesome. I love the multiple images of it. We really haven't done anything like that in a while. So kudos to our brand department. That's probably gonna be perfect. None of them are here, so they can't hear me say that.
Yeah, well, seriously, job well done to them. It looks great. Again, first question as we dig in, starting with some design talk. We always love hearing about the inspiration for the base design of flagship, and of course the Young Guns design, which I think looks really good. Just a very clean and sleek look for the Young Guns. So for both the base and the Young Guns, what can you tell us about the inspiration behind those designs?
So I know a lot of people say, "Oh, the base cards look the same year after year." What's funny is in recent years when we've tried something different, when we did like the two photos, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so you can't even see the picture. I can't get these signed." Um, so we're known for our photography, and we want to maximize the photography. So you kind of have to build a card a specific way to be able to show off a full bleed image of a player. And that being said, you also have to think about all the parallels that come with a set, and one of the parallels is the clear cut. um, so a lot of times we'll have an air, and you got to put the legal lines and the logos and stuff, the in somewhere on the back of the card. So you got to think about that. And in recent years, it's kind of been at the bottom of the card, where we put the logo and stuff. So that's part of the design aspect of it. But that being said, we've got a guy that's been working on Upper Deck flagship for quite a number of years. Kind of knows what we're looking for. Kind of knows what limitations he has. I will say this, part of the reason why, like, you'll see the stuff on the bottom, is because before we did that and we would do some different things, we'd have to put that stuff in behind players and on the acetate cards. It limit our photography because our photographers are like, well, you can't. The person has to be at least this big to do that, and we have to be able to put it here and there. And you saw there was a year or two where a lot of the cards looked the same kind of like three-quarter action image shot, and it got kind of repetitive. And I was just like, why do all these images look kind of the same? And it's like, well, because of the limitations of the photography, because we need to have room on the back of the cards to put all this information. So I didn't. Again, our cards are known for photography. Our flagship is known for photography, and I didn't want to limit our photographers. So that's where I said, okay, we'll have a specific area on these cards to where they can put all this legal stuff that doesn't take away from the photo. And that's what we've done the last number of years. I can say that that's actually changing in the future, where to now I've basically said, just put an area that has like a white that you can't completely see through the whole card, and then it gives us even more flexibility. but that's the reasoning why, I guess you could say, they say the cards look the same. I don't necessarily I understand what they're saying, but I don't understand because, we use different colors, we use different designs. But yes, it's been traditionally everything's been on the bottom of the card. Um, and I think they did a good job this year with the designs, and I think they're very clean and sleek, and I like them. That's a
That's
long
really cool.
long explanation.
No, that's totally fine. That's what these these episodes are all about. Switching gear for some checklist talk for a second. We've touched on this before. With other flagship releases as well. But for those collectors out there who don't know, can you share a little bit in terms of what types of players make up the Series One Young Gun checklist?
Yeah, why isn't Celebrini in Series 1? Is basically the
Right,
question.
is what people are
Yeah,
probably
I mean,
asking.
there's the traditionalists, and and it's so funny because I still see it on the forums. And it's like it's been this way for a few years, and they're like, "Well, they always used to have the number one pick and whatever." And yes, we always used to, but we also always used to print in the United States, Series 1, and we've been printing our flagship overseas. We feel that the quality has been exceptional there, and we like what we've seen so far. So we continue to print our flagship there, and because of the amount of time it takes to ship overseas, like there was one set that like it just got stuck on a barge for quite some time because that was more during the COVID years, but or the year like the year or whatever. But it was stuck on a barge for a while. So there is some time where the stuff goes from it printed overseas to then coming to the United States to then getting out to our distributors. Um, that being said, we used to, when we would get that number one pick, the first 2 weeks of the season was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the office, just to be able to get those cards into Series One. It took a lot of work from a lot of people for that to happen, and it was last minute. Now we don't have that time to be able to do it, because you can't put a guy that hasn't skated in the set. We've been fortunate enough where the league has allowed us and gotten permission and all that stuff to put Lafreniere as an SP and put Bedard as an SP. But that's not going to happen every year, and that's the exception. It's not something that we can do every year. And people kept asking, so is there an SP celebrating? I'm like, nope. And I like I'll play around with words sometimes, but I was blunt as can be. No, you will not find an SP. You will not find a young gun. You will not find Celebrini at all in this set. Um, obviously he's a great talent. Needs to get back to health so he can show that. But did a lot of damage in the CHL and in juniors, and an exceptional player. But he will more than likely. I shouldn't say what set he's going to be in because who knows. Got to give you guys some surprise when the checklist comes out, but there's a good chance you'll see him soon. I'll put it that way.
That's great. Just want to highlight the chat here. Jeremy said, wished us, a good what's up. That's always awesome. Jeremy from Sports Card Live. And of course, who's this guy? Matt Burrows.
It's some guy that probably
Does
should be
anyone
working right
know
now.
that guy? Yeah, I think so. I think so. I don't want to get you in trouble, Matt. So hopefully you don't hear about this again.
I
But
didn't know. I didn't know this was live. I was worried about talking too long because
right.
usually we'll get cut off, and then you guys have to start it. We have to start from. Oh man. Well, hello, live audience.
I know,
Yeah.
right? But we're okay though. And so is this Matt guy who maybe should be doing some work. I don't know. I'm sure he does
Right?
enough work. I'm
He's
sure he's
he's,
fine.
he's working on his Marc-Andre Fleury master
Eh,
collection
oh yeah,
that he has an
100%.
idea for.
100%. Can't wait to see the the results of that brainstorming there. I'm sure we'll see it someday soon enough.
So first couple packs of the box, we have to highlight the base
We
design.
gave you some of this stuff too.
We did, yeah. We've got a box of this as well. I know.
Why can't they send you one and Aaron one and you guys can share it?
Well, I mean, with me being in Canada, I'm sure it just costs a little extra to ship.
No, our distributors, it's easier, right?
Well, just let me know. I'm sure, maybe we'll do splitsies.
Anyway, so first couple packs highlighting the base design, we have Connor Bedard, nice second-year card there. And we have our first Young Guns for the Tampa Bay Lightning of Maxwell Crozier. So again, just a really clean banner on the bottom there, just a really nice looking design there. And then onto the inserts, we have an A lines for the Pittsburgh Penguins of Riley Smith, Evgeny Malkin, and Ricard Raquel, which has a really cool foil pattern on those, as well as a gaming PvP of Malkin and Couturier. And we'll get into the gaming cards in a bit. We have a City Satellites of Alex Ovechkin, which is really cool. Have an Aimbots Speckle of Braden Point. So again, a really cool foil pattern there, and that's a parallel of the Aimbots. And then a UD Portraits of Carter Verhaeghe. And of course, we love talking about the portraits, so we'll get into those later as well. Turning to the inserts, one of the inserts that has garnered the most attention is, of course, the Young Guns renewed cards. So what prompted the creation of those cards, and what was the inspiration behind the artwork?
So I met Luke the Cardist at the Mint Collective a couple years ago, and great guy. And he had wrestling cards, and so it was like, wow, someone has wrestling cards at one of these shows, because an AEW wrestling cards, and he had done his artwork on the cards, and it looked really cool. And so we just started talking to him, and he didn't know who I was at the time, of course. I've got such a big ego. I had to name drop myself and tell him what I do. Um, or it might have been the upper deck shirt I was wearing at the time. I don't know.
It could have been that.
But we started talking, and man, I liked what he did, and I knew I wanted to work with this guy. His passion, his excitement, and his skill is just all top notch. So I'm like, I know I want to work with this guy. How can I do it? And unfortunately, we were a little bit behind on wrestling sets, and so I'm like, well, I wanted to put him into a wrestling set, and I couldn't find a home for it because I didn't have a wrestling set I was building at the time. And so I was just like, well, what else could we do? And I can't remember if I remember being at the airport. It was actually in Chicago. I was in the Chicago airport, a beautiful O'Hare airport, where it's you walk 10,000 miles and to go from one gate to the next. I'm joking. O'Hare Airport's one of the worst airports in the world. But
Can confirm.
yes, exactly. And we just started talking about like ideas and stuff, and I know some of the stuff that he's done for other companies, and it was like one-on-one stuff. It was like he might have 10 cards in a set, and you're never going to see him. And I'm like, this guy's too good to you not to see these cards. Now I know there were people that were a lot of people have said, why didn't you make these case hits? And I'm like, there is a chase factor, and thank goodness people realize that really quickly. The chase factor is we made exclusive and high gloss versions of these cards. So not only am I getting people to see this guy, to see Luke's artwork, and like he can open up a box of cards and be guaranteed that every single box that someone buys, someone's going to see his art, which I think is awesome. But then you have those guys that want to chase the cards and get like their favorite version of it, and there's an exclusive and high gloss, and there's been a nice secondary market. And I don't really talk too much about secondary markets, but there's been a nice secondary market for the exclusives and the high glosses of those cards. Sorry, no one-on-one gold outburst golds or anything like that, but
We'll
you
get
know
to
s-
that a little later, but
exactly,
but that
still a big chase. And I think some of his designs are real cool. And I think maybe he had to change one or two things, because the league is very specific. Like you can't mess around with the team logos. So he
Mhm.
had to do some other stuff. I know the Ovechkin has like the eagle in the background, which is kind of cool, but still he didn't mess around with the logos. And I learned on another podcast, I guess, like it's kind of the artwork. It's called the smoke, is what he calls it. Just kind of like the weird kind of intertwining thing. He calls that the smoke. Yeah, there you go. You see it right there. So I'm glad that he put that in there too. But like he does these one of ones for people. I've seen, like, if you follow him on Instagram, I think it's Luke the Cardist. You'll see what he does for other sets and other cards. But yeah, that was the inspiration, and it was supposed to be like we were supposed to go all the way back. Unfortunately, we couldn't. I don't know if we have like the images or the record of some of those cards, and we didn't want to like scan the cards. We wanted to have the digital file, and unfortunately, we don't have digital files of cards that were built in 1990 or
Mm.
91 or whatever. And I think the Flurry is the oldest card in the set, if I remember correctly.
I
That's as
think
far
Tim
back as we
Thomas is
went.
in there.
We were gonna do 3 years worth, or I'm sorry, we were gonna do it in series one, series two, and extended, and we actually had to take it out of extended, and we're only doing series one and series two because we didn't have um enough names. Like, it was gonna be 100, just the way the forms work and all the other stuff. We're just like, okay, let's do 50, and then do 50 the next year, and then it'll be done. It was supposed to be like 3 different periods, and because we didn't have enough of the early periods, we kind of smushed 2 of the periods together and put them in series one, and then the other period is in series two that was supposed to be an extended. That's the best way to explain it.
That's really cool. I like the story about sort of the hidden talent that you managed to sort of find in the middle of nowhere type thing. So at a show, and that stuff's really cool. You're never going to get that when you open up a pack and see the card itself. So to hear the story behind that is really something. And yeah, the cards themselves look great. They're very unique, and yeah, I like them. And kind of switching gears a little bit, but there's like a heavy kind of gaming theme among the inserts in this product. What inspired some of those?
So, we had Overwatch, we had Call of Duty, and my friends play Call of Duty all the time. I'm not that much into it, believe it or not. Like, I used to play Tiger Woods golf or Tecmo Bowl football or those sort of things, but I've never really been into the shooter kind of thing. But that being said, there is, like, I like to do some sort of theme in series one. Series two, a lot of the time, is just continuing some of the themes, and then extended is like basically old design. So series one is really where you get to kind of come up with a theme. And so I'm like, well, gaming would be kind of cool. And one of the things is there's so much unique photography in the gaming inserts that we've created, um, that you don't necessarily see. You don't see the back of players a lot on trading cards. And I remember, and I've told the story, when we built Full Force, there's a goal card, and it's the famous Solani shooting the stick, but it's from behind. And I remember the photographer asking the question, "Can we use this image because you can't see his face?" It's almost like trading card, like, they have a rule where you have to see their face. And so I kind of broke the rule with a lot of it, but it's on purpose because that's how you see it. Like, how do players see the ice? Like, that's just, you don't see many cards of the player's view of what's going on. So that was kind of the purpose of it. And then there's like other, like, the aim bots I always thought was kind of cool, where it's just like it kind of like gives you a percentage of you can make it here or make it there. I really like that insert. But yeah, the gaming thing has, like, we see gaming stuff. We have a whole department of gaming. But the other reason is just the unique photography that I don't think that has ever really been used the way we used it in trading cards. I wanted to do something different.
Very cool. Yeah, it's again, that's why we have you on, is to hear the reasoning behind things that we just wouldn't think of or wouldn't understand on our own. So that's cool to hear. Next couple packs, like you guys saw a minute ago, a Young Gun Renewed of Mika Zibanejad, a True Young Gun of Justin Brazeau, a Silver Outburst or Silver Outburst of the box of Jesper Bratt. And again, like last year, these cards look amazing in person. They just pop so nicely. I love the Outburst cards. A UD Portraits of Travis Konechny, a Gaming Co-op of Brady Kachuk and Tim Stutzla, and another City Satellites of Connor McDavid. So some cool cards there. Um, kind of going off of that, a good segue. One of the inserts that I really like in the product is these city satellite cards. And I know in years past, Bill, you've enjoyed doing various city themed inserts in Flagship before. So is that kind of the idea with these ones here?
No, I'm totally a Dave Matthews Band fan, and just was listening to some music, and I said, "Make me a card that is based off of a Dave Matthews." I'm totally joking, because I would have picked Two Step as the Dave Matthews song. I would have made a card off of. But yeah, you've seen the cities. How many times do you see the city skyline? Like people kind of do stuff or whatever, and sometimes legally it's kind of difficult to do those sort of things also. And I'm like, can we do something from above? Like I see I saw some images. I'm like, it's kind of cool, like the aerial view. And I think they wanted to do that one year with Metal Universe, and for some reason we just decided not to, but do an aerial view. So I was lucky enough to get that insert. Or get that type of photography. It looks like Chicago's on fire in your picture there. Is everything okay? Or I'm just joking. Um, no, I jokingly said the Detroit card should just be a bunch of. I can say this as a Michigander, that the Detroit card should have been like a bunch of fires.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
well, with what is it today? It's today's Devil's Night. And people in outside of like the Midwest don't even know what Devil's Night is. But
I
it's
I don't know what that is.
do you know, Eric? Have you ever heard of Devil's Night?
I've heard of it, but I don't know much
Yeah,
about it.
it's the day before Halloween, and back in the day, in Detroit, they used to they'd start a lot of fires. I'll just put it that way, and they called it Devil's Night. So that's where that came from. But anyway, it's a cool imagery style of imagery. I liked it. I've wanted to put it in a card for a while, and we finally found a home for it.
Awesome. You mentioned some of them already, but some of the new inserts that we see is, inserts like A lines, aimbots, breaking news, and checkpoint. Is there anything you could share that you haven't already about any of these inserts as well?
Yes, remember how I was trying to be super clever with metallics?
Yes.
And people call it Metal X. The A lines is aligns. Like, and notice all the players on the card align, and there's like an alignment of it. And so I was like, it's playing off of hockey lines and the way that the card is. So it's aligns, and it's going to be pronounced A lines. And I get too clever with some of my insert names, and I could come on every card show and card podcast and tell people that, but I already know it's going to be called the lines or A lines from here on out. That's my fault. The breaking news, it's one of those, again, it's kind of like I wanted like this break. I didn't want like just, do I have my foil book here? Yeah, you guys know what Crackle is? Like the, the design.
Yeah, but
It-
why don't you just show it,
it's
just for the
just like the
viewer who,
basic. Everybody's seen
okay.
this before. It's Crackle. It's called Crackle. You can see it's called Crackle.
Yeah, that's
Some
really
of
cool.
our competitors actually name their inserts off of these foil books. Oh, look. Let me come up with an original name. Oh yeah.
Great.
Um,
That's really
but
cool seeing the foil book too. I'm sure collectors, uh, you know, like knowing that stuff that, the card companies actually have, tons of
oh
material.
yeah, they have
And
it's pretty
I don't need you
crazy.
to show all of them because I know maybe there's some ideas kicking around there, but it's
Yeah.
just really cool how you have a book like that, like that.
That's just one of our vendors. Um, but
That's really cool.
anyway,
Yeah, very
uh
subtle.
so the breaking, I wanted something that looked like it like breaking sort of thing. So I used a different type of from one of our vendors, and those cards were came out really cool. Um, let's see the checkpoints. I think I mentioned. Man, uh, enforcers are the easy, like some of the funnest insert names to come up with. Um, because they didn't make inserts for enforcers. So like checkpoint, it's just like, oh
It's like
yeah,
wide open.
there's a thing called there's a checkpoint, like whatever, like on the roads and stuff where they check stuff, and there's a sign that says checkpoint, just like check please, there it looks like a check. And director of boards, just stuff like that. So I love making my enforcer insert, and I think the checkpoints. There's some really good pictures. There's some other pictures where it looks like the guy's hugging the guy. Like, wish we could have found. There's a enforcer card of Sidney Crosby. Come on, I got to talk to my coordinator about that one. That guy's not that physical. He can't. He shouldn't have one of those cards. But yeah, there's definitely some fun. There's some fun inserts, and when you're having to put 3 inserts per pack, it challenges us to build. And we advertise, like, hey, you got more inserts this year than we replaced base cards, but we gave you more inserts. So it's a lot of work coming up with a number of different inserts to put in there, because you just don't want like 200 cards of one insert. They're usually between like 20 and 50 cards per insert. So it takes a lot of work to come up with all of them.
No doubt. I'm just looking at a couple here for the checkpoint cards, and that Arbor Jacki one is just
That's
really
the
cool.
best one.
He's
Yes.
throwing them up there. It's fantastic. So for
I
those who don't know or haven't seen the card, maybe you'll pull one soon. But
yeah.
that's a great picture, and I totally see what you mean about, like, especially flagship product, wanting to focus on the photography, and you're also trying to come up with new ways to kind of creatively do that. And so this is definitely a really good creative one, especially for those who love the enforcers or just love a good hit.
Yeah.
Like, this is definitely the set for you. So yeah, I was just looking at a few, and the Jacki there just really stood out to me for
I think I
sure.
told them to put that on the solicitation too. Because I saw the photo. I'm like, this is the
Yeah,
one that
yeah.
goes on the solicitation,
It definitely
please.
sums up what the set's about. So that's really cool.
Well, speaking of enforcers, for the next couple packs, we have a Young Guns of Matt Rempe, so that's a cool one there.
That's a nice one.
Fan
I'm
favorite.
surprised he even fit on the card. That dude's so big.
Yeah, he's a behemoth human being, that's for sure. We do have our first checkpoint for the Tampa Bay Lightning of Eric Chernak, and that's a really nice photo there.
That's a great photo too. That's really good.
We can't show blood, and we can't show fighting. This is about to the extent as far as we can go. So, we push it to the limit because we know people want to see it. But I mean, it wouldn't be in the game if they didn't really want it. Come on,
It's true.
it wouldn't be
So
allowed.
Right. Like, that's the thing I like about, and I don't want to, get off topic, but I really like how, it's funny how people talk about, certain aspects of the game. And, you know, if they're being honest, I think some of those aspects that maybe people want to get rid of now are part of the reason why they started paying attention to hockey in the first place. Like fighting and big hits and, the injuries. I mean, you don't want someone to get injured, like, obviously, or out for a long time. But I mean, some of those aspects that we see night in, night out is what people love about hockey. So I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I like that stuff, within reason, of course. I don't want to see someone's career, get ended, but some of those, tougher aspects of the game is what we all love.
For sure.
absolutely. Going back to some of the gaming cards, we have a gaming FOV of J Rob. So again, that stands for Field of Vision. So again, seeing
And
kind of what he would see on.
we did put his face on there.
Yes. True.
See, so you do get to see his face.
As well as another gaming FOV. This one is a Sparkle parallel of Kirill Kaprizov. And an Aimbots of Willie Nylander. And this is a nice one here for sure. We have a UD Portraits Black parallel, which are
Those
1
are
in
nice.
240 packs.
Yep.
So those are very tough pulls of Travis Konechny.
Well, there we go. That's a nice looking card too.
Yeah, very nice. Again, with
Very
the
cool.
rainbow foil with the black background looks really sharp. So,
And does he have all his teeth in that one? I see a comment here from Jay from Facebook. Can you print missing teeth? I assume he's asking because you mentioned you can't print blood. So I'm assuming that you can print someone's face,
Yes and
even
no.
if they have missing teeth. But I could be wrong.
I mean,
They're
Bobby
not-
Clark.
They're not a
would be
fan
that
of
guy.
it. They're not a fan of it. Believe it or not, they're
Really?
not a fan of
Okay.
showing the missing teeth.
I guess, like, promoting violence and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, it could get assumed one way or the other. So I guess that makes sense. But yeah, it's an interesting question.
Yeah, and shout out to Jay. He's a buddy of mine from back home from high school. So thanks for tuning in, dude. Another notable new insert that I know, Billy, that you're really excited about and have mentioned on our show previously are the holotypes.
Hmm.
What inspired the creation of not only just a true hologram set, but also the decision to have it be a living set?
I'm glad that you said it was a living set because I don't think people understand that. We haven't done holograms in about 10 years in flagship, and Upper Deck was the home of the holograms back in the day. Even the first set had those the Iserman, the Brett Hall, Gretzky, Lemieux, I think. There might have been one more, I can't remember. If you buy them now, you can barely even see the hologram, but they're still in there. So I wanted to bring them back, and it was important that like we understand, being completely transparent. We understand that not having the number one pick, um, more than in the draft in series one, will definitely affect the set from a consumer's point of view. So I wanted to come up with a number of different things that we can add to it to add value to the boxes. And I'm like, well, let's bring back the holograms, but let's do it in a way that I think will bring a lot of collectability to it also. So these things are super rare. I think they're like one in, it's a 500 and something. I'm looking 100 and 504.
Not
So
bad, not bad at
think of how
all.
many boxes there's 144. That's one in five cases, I believe. One in four cases or one in five cases. Cases. There's 30 of them. And there's gonna be 30 of them every year in series one. And it's a living set. And so the guys that are in there, I think like um is Kaprizov? I think Kaprizov's in there. This is his only one. This is the only holotypes that he's going to have in there. Anyone that's in Series 1 this year, this is the only time you're going to get that card. So the funny thing is, like I've seen the secondary market on these, and I think it's extremely low. I really do. Knowing how many there are, I think that the secondary market's extremely low on them right now. I would suggest looking into it. But that being said, I think when they come out next year and the year after and the year after, people are going to want to go back and be like, oh, this is actually a pretty cool set to build. Maybe I can build the set. And then knowing how many there are, it's going to be hard to go back and build the set. It's definitely buildable, but it's going to be difficult to build. So I think as time progresses, this first year of these is going to be more sought after each year that these the next year comes out. So I'm excited that holograms are back. I love the design. I think the hologram came out great. And because holograms are really expensive to make nowadays. I don't think people understand. Like they ask, like, why can't you? I think I have an example here. um it's like, where's a good one? I like this one because he's winking at you. Why can't you make the old SPX where Fedorov is winking at you when you turn it? Ooh, look, he's looking at you. Oh, he winks his eye. Um, those are expensive now. I don't know why they were so cheap back in the day, but they are extremely expensive to make nowadays. And part of it is because people just don't make those type of things anymore. The printers that would make these holograms, a lot of them just aren't in business anymore. They're doing something else, or the owners don't have a shop anymore. I don't know. So to find guys that can do holograms, it's rare and rare, and it's gotten more and more expensive. So, you have to pay for an original hologram for each one, or for the card. So you can't just do like 30 different holograms each time unless you guys want to pay double the price of a box for series one. So that's the whole thing about the holotypes. I wanted to bring back holograms. I wanted to add value to the box, and I wanted to come up with a living set that year after year people will want to collect.
That's really great. Thanks for sharing your insight on that. Yeah, I mean, with prices of everything, it kind of bleeds into everything, and holograms are kind of one of them, when talking about cards. So thanks for your insight again on that. Now, this is an insert set that you really love, and that's the portrait cards. I remember last year we had this whole discussion on them, and you were saying, hey, you know what, guys, these are great. and the wheels are already turning, for next year. And so we're finally here. And so just wanted to get your thoughts on the new portrait cards and kind of what went into that. And I think they look great personally, and the different
So
parallels, etc.
so a lot of times things are built off of or inspired by things that I see. And I was at International Fight Week at UFC, and I saw a picture, and I'm like, this is kind of a cool concept. Um, so here's I don't know if you can see it or not. It's a Ronda Rousey picture, and what the artist did is he took 9 Polaroid images and created one image out of 9 different Polaroids.
That's
So it's
cool.
probably Rousey just like standing there still, and then the guy's just like like trying to connect it. And I'm like, I like the concept. I want to make it more abstract though. So that was the inspiration. I wanted to make it a little bit different though. Like I don't want to make it exactly the same. So wanted to make it a little more abstract where, it doesn't line up or anything, but it's like 4 or 5 different pictures making a picture. So that was the inspiration behind portraits. I'm sorry, it's not dog heads or like what are they called? Sorry, I'm just seeing somebody walking around. Um, don't a bunch of bunch of different things. I already got next year's planned out. It's cool. It's kind of with the theming of next year's series one. I think we got kind of like the concept of the artwork, so now we have the artists working on it. Hint, artists. But it should be fun. But portraits is always fun for me. Look, as I said, it's tough coming up with insert names every year for all these sets, and so if you have an insert set that you know it's a player insert, specific player insert. It's a set that you can kind of like go throughout with different it can carry on to series 2. It's a tough insert to get rid of. From a standpoint of it serves its purpose. And then having the numbered parallels of it also and ratioed parallels, that adds value to some of them, but it's a fun insert. I like it, and I think it came out great this year. And sorry, it's not as weird as usual. Uh, we're coming back to it next year.
Awesome. Love to hear that. I loved the ones last year. I thought they were super fun. Um, Next couple packs of Young Guns of James Malatesta. We have a Young Guns Renewed of Jamie Benn. Cool background there that has kind of part of the Stars logo there. We have another checkpoint of Ethan Bear throwing a nice check there.
Those are so good.
We have one of the breaking news for the Chicago Blackhawks of Kevin Korchinski. Again,
Yeah,
super cool.
there's
Those
so
foil.
look
much
great.
there's so much depth to it as opposed to just like a pattern rainbow foil board. That's what I love about this card.
Yeah, it is super cool in person. We have a gaming PvP of William Eklund and Troy Terry. We have an aimbot of Nathan McKinnon. And then another one of the box hits, we have a gaming co-op green, numbered out of 199, of Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt.
And you know what's funny too is, and I feel bad for the coordinator because I make these inserts, and you see how there's like kind of like a grading system for them, and then there's this percentages of where they're going to hit for the aim bots, and those poor coordinators are the ones that have to fill in all that information and come up with all that information. So kudos to them for doing all the excessive work that I request.
Indeed, there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes than a lot of people understand. Turning to the Easter eggs in the product, that's one of the most fun things to talk about. One of, I think everyone would agree on this, one of the most fun inserts in the product, and I know this one is special to you, Billy, is the crossed up set based on cross stitching. So, what can you share with us not only about the inspiration, but also the execution of those cards?
So yeah, it's a fun insert. I uh, I know people are like, these are just like 16 bits, and I can understand where they would think that, but the inspiration is like sometimes you get to just make some cards that for yourself. I don't want to say for yourself, but stuff that might mean a little more to you than some other people. But I still want collectability, obviously. I've used the blue china as an example, parallel and allure, where that's kind of based off of a friend of mine. They have, and family members, they had like the blue china plates in their house. This one, so my stepmom is a big cross stitcher back in the day. She we go to I go back to Michigan and visit her probably once every a couple months, to just see how she's doing and catch up with her and help her out wherever she could use some help. And she has up on her walls all these different cross stitch things that she did back in the day. She doesn't have as much use with her hands right now, so she's not able to really do like cross stitching much anymore. So I was like, and I'll work from, like, I'll visit her, and I don't necessarily like to take time off because I like to use the time off for other reasons. So one of the things that COVID did was really allow us to set up a system to where we can work from away from home. So I'll go and visit her. I bring her, like, I'll work from my friend's house during the day, in the morning. Then I'll go get lunch and bring her lunch, and then I'll work from where she lives, and we just kind of hang out. And it's funny because we have meetings, and there's all this like old folks home stuff behind me at the in the meetings. But I wanted to kind of do an ode to my stepmom, of all the cross stitching stuff that she did. So the inspiration of it was that. And it's kind of funny. I don't even think the player's name is on the front of the card. I think it was supposed to originally, the name was supposed to be cross stitched, and something happened, and we weren't able to do it because of space, and we just kind of didn't have the player's name even on the front. But I think they came out great. They're cute. They look like cross stitch. The only regret is I think I should have put it on a canvas stock. I think it would look a little bit better. But that being said, I think they look really cool. They look like cross stitch. You can, like, initially it almost looked like it looked like the 16-bit, and I had to give the designer specific directions. I'm like, no, this does not look like cross stitch. This looks like a pixelation. I want it to, like, when you cross stitch it, that's what it is. It's you're you're making an X with in a little small area. So that's the inspiration. That's what they are. I made them extremely rare because we stayed away from having too many Easter eggs this year. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but almost everything was announced. And part of that was we just wanted to get the hype out for the set and show you, like, hey, these are all the cool cards. Um, but I still wanted to have at least one Easter egg. So that's pretty much the main Easter egg for the set. And they've done quite well, and they're well received, and I really appreciate that because it's one of the sets that actually means a lot to me also.
That's really nice, adding that personal touch to it. It's always really cool, again, to get the stories behind these cards. That's why we, ask you these questions. But again, it's always really cool, I'm sure, for you to see, cards like those kind of released and, collectors enjoying them. Again, especially, has such a, personal meaning to yourself. So that's really cool. I loved hearing that story. Moving on to, one of the inserts getting the most buzz, and we did mention it earlier, but this would be, of course, the Retro Outburst Young Guns cards for McDavid, Bergeron, Stutzel, and Bobrovsky at this point. So, what was the reasoning behind making those? Because obviously the Outburst stuff are so new, and throwing things back a bit. We've seen that in this same product as well. So this is kind of like the joining of those two ideas. Both with having the young guns outbursts that are fairly new with obviously throwing it back with like a retro retro style.
Yeah, I think there's one. I think Suzuki's in there too. I think there's one more
Okay.
because I was going to say, because you listed four, and I wanted to make sure, because about to say we're going to do five
Okay.
in every flagship for the next 3 years.
That's really cool.
So, like I said, we like to do things in threes sometimes. So, there's going to be five in each set, and there's we saw the popularity of the outbursts. We have our meetings where we kind of brainstorm and stuff, and I wish I could take credit for this one, but Grant was actually the one that really pushed this one through. And it was kind of a last minute thing, but we're always looking to add value to these boxes. um, and so we thought this would be a great way to add value. And again, we're not telling you the ratio, but everyone, I love the speculation at the beginning, and they're like, oh, they're gonna be so easy, like there's gonna be so many of them, blah blah blah. And then after the first day, I think you saw maybe one or two McDavids, if that. And like there were and keep in mind, people have been opening all day long, and you're not even the first couple days, you're only seeing one or two of these things. So they are definitely rare. And then obviously we wanted to do the red and the gold versions of them also, because that's now synonymous with the outburst. So um, yeah, it was a great idea, great concept, and I think it adds huge amount of big hit potential again. In the more case hits you can put into a case, the better. So that's kind of the
True.
concept around it. I know people are here's the crazy thing, and I've heard it, like people are afraid, like, oh, someone's gonna think that this was out for like people are gonna think that that was out in McDavid's rookie year. And it's frustrating. Are they going to think about the renewed that they were out the rookie year also? Are they going to like? I think someone said it perfect. Just look on the back of the card. Like I hate to say it, but look, it obviously has the copyright of 2024 on there. So I don't think are they rookie cards? We never said they're rookie cards. We're not saying that these cards were printed in 15, 16, or whatever other years that we used. But they are super rare insert cards, case it, multiple case it type level cards, and they're obviously of iconic cards with a new concept that we just started using, and we felt that they should get the treatment.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I'm definitely kind of in the same boat that you are with the, are these rookie cards, are they not? And let's just think about it a little bit. No, they're not.
Here's the question. Have people said, and clear cut, have people said, oh, is this his rookie card in the clear cut
Right.
retros? No, they haven't. Sometimes it's just people making topics to just kind of add fuel to fires, or to have content. I think it's pretty obvious, but
Yeah.
if not, just look on the back of the card.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm right there with you for sure. Next couple packs, we have our first two canvas cards of the box. We have Claude Giroux and Darcy Kemper. Of course, the canvas cards always do a great job of highlighting that great photography that your photographers have. We have a young gun of Emil Lillibird. This next one, I'll pop up a question that Josh Packham asked here as I show it off. We have a young gun renewed, and it is that inaugural 02031 of Tim Thomas. And he was asking if you're surprised with how well those young guns renewed have been selling for, given how common the base versions are, and just praising that the value that they add to a box.
So I'm happy. I'm not surprised. I'm happy with how well they're doing. I'll put it into perspective. Young Guns come one every 2 packs, and the Young Guns renewed come one every 4 packs. It's of top players. Yes, but it's not. I understand it's not their rookie card, but it's a unique representation of their rookie cards. Not rookie cards, but a unique representation. So, am I surprised? I'm just happy that something that that is that you don't even get. I don't think you get a full. No, you don't even get a full set in a case. So, that definitely helps the rarity of it, because they're twice as hard as a young gun. But again, if you make a nice looking card, and this is where I'm not surprised but I'm happy. I feel if you make a nice looking card, it should add value to it. And I think we made some nice looking cards. I think Luke made some beautiful, you know, artwork on there. So I think that's the surprise is that people actually realize that. That's my surprise, is that they realize that these are beautiful looking cards, because a lot of times people just flip through stuff and throw the inserts to the side. So the fact that they're paying, that's where the surprise is, that people are paying attention to it and that they like it. Um, but I'm happy that they are valuing out the way they are.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the last couple hits from these packs, a gaming co-op of Shifley and Connor, as well as our Dazzlers of the box. And I really like the look of these, kind of having like the neon script font. This one of William Eklund.
Yeah, our
Looks
designer
great.
changed up the design a little bit this year, and I was very happy with how they turned out. I like the down the side this year that they did.
Yeah, really nice look. I think that's all the questions we have. So as I open up the last couple packs, is there anything else about the product that you want to share?
Great question. Population counts are back. A lot again. There's a lot of content. The Fanimation. It's the second year of the Fanimation. So it's the same design, but it was a very popular design with the big caricature heads. Um, kind of art again. I'm already excited for next year's. Um, and yeah, I think like we didn't really add too many parallels. I don't think did we add any Young Gun parallels this year? People be happy. Yay, no new Young Gun parallels. So we're not just paralleling out everything. Um, but the deluxe are back from last year. That was a nice addition. You'll notice there's a lot more numbered cards in there. There's a lot more, I feel, chase hit and content in the box. And like I say, each year, I think each year gets better and better. I'm excited for next year's. But like I said, I think we added more content to the boxes this year. The boxes have come back down to normal. I'm happy about that because one of the more frustrating things at the expo last year, at the fall expo, and obviously series one is going to be on the redemption, the priority pack redemption packs, whatever they're called, again this year. Um, I didn't get to see as much open last year because the box prices, because of the demand for Bedard, was so high, and the prices of the boxes went up real high. I'm very happy that it's back to where it's supposed to be because I'm going to see more of it open. More people are going to open up cases of it because I think it's one of our case redemption things too. So I'm going to get to see a lot more of it opened, and that's always good. People are wondering where the Bedard 101 is, and I was like, there's so many people holding that product right now, um, and we didn't get to see as much of it open. Like you notice you've seen a lot more of the gold outburst cards popping up. It's because more
Yep.
people are opening it because they're able to open more of it because it's at a reasonable price, and so you're seeing a lot more of the big cards being pulled because of that. So the Bedards could potentially be in someone's basement that thinks that they're sitting on their kids college fund, and we won't see it for a while. Or it'd be crazy if we see it opened up at the expo. I would please don't get it opened up the expo because now people will think that I purposely said that. But you know what I mean. Um, uh, I think there's a lot more of this year's Series One being open than last year's like Series Two, just because it's at a good price point,
Yeah.
which is established by supply and demand from other people.
Correct. Good way of phrasing that. Um, as we go through the last couple packs, a pretty strong finish here. We have one of the gaming XP cards of Austin Matthews,
So you know
and
what that stands for, right?
yes, the number of years they've played.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a really smart idea.
So
I like that.
like you have the little coin that goes up, and they get like an extra year of experience or whatever it is. That's what that one's based off of.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Great looking cards too.
Really nice touch there on the detail for that. A gaming FOV of Matt Kachuk. Getting into our last couple of canvas cards, a really cool photo here of Adam Fantilli. I'm not sure if our buddy Rick took that photo or not. Very well might have. Really cool photo there. We have a canvas Young Gun, so that's always nice to get. They're not guaranteed. They're every other box. Of Ruslan Iskakov for the Islanders. Then a couple of pretty darn cool cards to finish off. We have a breaking news for his 552nd NHL win of Marc-Andre Fleury.
What a great card. That's fantastic.
Give it
Love
to him,
that.
Eric.
I think he might keep that one. I
If
think
he doesn't, Eric, if you don't give
probably
it
will
to
keep
him,
it.
I'm going to tell Paul I'm gonna give him a new address to start mailing stuff to.
Well, that's
No,
just mean.
it's a wild card, so I don't mind passing this one to Aaron if he wants it.
That looks fantastic. I'll take it if you got it.
And then this was the last hit card of the entire box and of the night. A fitting way to end the break. A Young Guns for the Montreal Canadiens of Lane Hudson.
There we
There
go.
you go.
All right. What a great way to end it.
Very strong box.
Dude, you
there.
got two. You got like two of the top rookies.
Yeah,
in
Rempey
your
and
box.
Hudson. Very
That's
well done.
good
super
box.
great. Not bad at all. I'm currently in Quebec City, so I'm sure a lot of people would actually really like that card.
Nice.
That is
Absolutely.
awesome. Thanks for finishing up there, Eric, on the box. Bill, I just wanted to pick your brain about the Expo. You did just bring it up just now. If you could share a couple things just about, Upper Deck's plans, for the Expo. I, of course, will be there. It's going to be really exciting, and I can't wait to see what you guys have in store for, all the collectors attending.
So the most important thing, since I've already seen a comment, is we are providing appetizers at the Sports Card Live dinner
Ooh, that's
on
right.
Thursday night
That's
at
right.
Jack Astor's. I have requested chicken fingers or chicken tenders or whatever. I don't necessarily know. Like every time I go to Canada, I need me some fries with some brown gravy and cheese curds, but I just don't know how well they stand up in like in bins and stuff. So give me the tenders.
That's great.
I've been very adamant about this with Jeremy for the past like 2 weeks.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sure.
so yeah, we're bringing appetizers to that, and there'll be a number of upper deck people there that you can talk to. I'm usually there the first hour or two, and so I will be there to conversate. If you want to get there, I think I'm actually going to be getting there early. So if you get there early too, if you're not running a booth or whatever, feel free, and we can have a drink beforehand or whatever. And then our booth, obviously, we're doing our not rapper redemption, our priority packs for people that purchased boxes, and it's a lot of good stuff too. I had the list somewhere and I lost it, but I know like Metal Universe and 22, 23 Series 1's on there. But I think it's a really good list. Like, not I would say there were some times where it's like, hey, let's put some stuff on there that we'll try to help sell some stuff. No, we went for all the big dogs this year. I think SPA might be on there too. That just got released today. So look out for that. Our booth is always awesome. Hopefully we have the double decker again this time, where there's like the nice room up top. And then there's the bottom, we have our raffles, a daily raffle giving away tons of upper deck product. You just got to yell like I love upper deck and have the right ticket, and we'll give away a whole bunch of really cool stuff. UDA is loaded with a whole bunch of beautiful new stuff up there and some old stuff. I think we have the monumental boxes are back, where you're going to get 3 premium items, including a bunch of our spokesmen, where we have there's McDavid stuff, there's Gretzky stuff, Patrick Waugh, and then even stuff. I think there's like Michael Misa stuff, is like signed stuff's in there, like young and old. There's all the top hockey names are in there. You might even find like a Dylan Larkin something in there. Speaking of top players, I'm just kidding. I have no idea if he's in there or not. But yeah, so those are going to be, and they're very limited too. So I'm not sure how. I want to say there's like 50 of them or something really low. So we put the best stuff in there. I'll be walking around all day. Like I know some people will be going to the upper deck booth. Please feel free to like stop by and look for me there. But I'll also be walking around. So look for the guy that used to have a nice blackish brown beard, but's been working at Upper Deck for 10 years and it's all turned gray. But I'll be walking around. I'll probably either have an Upper Deck hat or whatever. You can also probably find me at the Red Wing Maple Leaf game. I'll look for the guy wearing the Red Wing jersey. Ignore the jacket that I'm wearing, that I'm hiding a specific logo on there. They sell a lot of cool stuff at the expo. So sometimes I buy it
Indeed,
because
they do.
I like Adidas jackets. So I'm a sucker for them, and I'll buy other team stuff, even if it's Adidas. Um, but yeah, look, we'll be all over the place. There's a trade night, I believe, Saturday night that I'll be attending. I believe Mint Inc. is hosting it. I'll be there, checking that out, and I'll be bouncing around all the booths, talking to people. I want your feedback. If you hate something, please feel free to tell me how much you hated chemical compositions, or that you don't like the constellations cards or whatever, but feel free to tell me that you like other cards too. I take feedback, and I take criticism very well. um, and basically that's all I get from Carlos is criticism, but I take it. It's okay. I think we donated some stuff to the Gong Show guys. They're having some Rip Night party too. That's pretty awesome. They're ripping cards and giving stuff away. I'll be hanging out with Aaron basically 24/7. So if you want to talk
If
to
I can
Aaron,
find you.
yeah, I know,
You're a
dude.
hard guy to track down,
We miss
but
each other all the time.
yeah, like I ran into you last year, so I'll be definitely around at some point to find you. But
Let's walk
that's not
around and do
easy.
some. Let's do some walk around and look at some of these tables
That'd be
together.
super. Yeah, that'd be great.
Not just be like, hey, what's up? Because I want to see what you're looking for too.
Oh, for sure.
But I'll be bouncing around. I probably won't get a chance to like see Jeremy Lee because that dude has a crowd at his booth
It's a busy
all the
guy.
time.
Busy
But
guy.
I'm always talking to my boys and Kent right next to Jeremy Lee. Um, they have the coolest. Jeremy Lee just has a bunch of limited logos or signature patches or like really
Always
expensive cards,
crazy.
or like PSA 10 cards of himself. Um, though Kent and Meat have a lot of cool stuff, more affordable too. And then Kent has a lot of entertainment stuff and women's soccer, and I collect a lot of that stuff. So if you're into entertainment autographs and women's soccer, make sure you stop by and meet and Kent's, which is basically right next to Jeremy Lee. Um, love the comments, but no, I'll be bouncing around, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'll be there from Thursday. I get there Thursday, so I'll be there at the beginning of Thursday night, and then I'll be running around to all the dinners and stuff. And I leave Sunday, and then I literally, like, my buddy's driving me because I'll be in Michigan the week before visiting my stepmom and hopefully showing her the crossed up cards. And then I'll be driving with my buddy um, to uh, to Toronto from Detroit, and then we drive back to Detroit for the Shoresy Classic. I'm going to that. It's the cast of Shoresy is playing the Detroit alumni, and maybe I'll talk to some Detroit alumni in case there's a centennial set of some kind coming out in the future years. Someone might be there might be some teams
Interesting.
experiencing a centennial year in the future that I'll need to convince these guys to sign for a set that maybe a big Detroit fan is working on.
That would
Um,
be quite the set if one were to appear.
yes, yes. But I'm looking, and I love the show Letterkenny, and I love the show Shoresy. So to be able to, I've never met Jared's the only one I've met from Shoresy, and the Tesa, I always mispronounce her name. The one who's the owner of the Bulldogs. I just saw her a couple weeks ago at the Newport Film Festival. I'd met her one time and talked to her and told her about the trading cards and stuff. And I saw her again. Let me find the picture because it was just recently. I'm just really doing this to flex and to brag, but yep, she seems very happy to see me. There she is.
That's great.
And I literally was like, "Can I get a photo with the owner of the Bulldogs?" And it's so funny because she was on the show, I think The 100, like one of those teeny drama sort of things.
Okay.
And so a lot of people know her from that.
Mm,
And she'll go like to Teen Wolf Con or whatever. I don't know. But man, you talk Shoresy with her, and she just lights up. She gets really excited about it. So yeah, I'm going to that. Not that you guys even asked or anything. It has nothing to do with the
no.
expo. I'm pretty
That,
much just excited about that.
that's
And then
fantastic.
I fly back to California. But yeah, the expo is amazing. They put on a great show. I think we're in a different hall. We must be getting bigger and bigger. You know what I like about this one too that I saw, because we're in a different hall. There's no, I always feel bad for those people that are in the long narrow hallway to go to
Right,
the next room.
right.
I don't see that long narrow hallway in this one, which I think
Okay.
is a big positive for anyone that's in different rooms. Um, but I know I know, Aaron, you told me you already got the VIP pass for the Women of Baywatch, the group photo
I do
for
not,
that. Oh,
but
well, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, they now they're getting into some of the entertainment people, and they have like a 5 of the Baywatch ladies come into the expo. It's like they do a different theme. I know they've brought they brought the Hanson brothers before. They brought what's the other one with Bubbles? I'm drawing a blank.
oh, like the Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park Boys. Yeah, they brought
Yeah,
them. So this year they brought a group from Baywatch, which is pretty cool. Like they're doing a good job getting some big names. The only bummer was I thought that they bring a lot of the guys from the Hall of Fame, because the Hall of Fame ceremonies that weekend. I was hoping to see Pelve, but unfortunately he's not there. But maybe I'll get in line for Jack Morris, who not only is a Blue Jay legend but a Detroit Tiger legend. I think I have. Oh, I do have. You can see my stuff in the background here.
yeah, it's
This is
great.
this is my Jack Morris Sports Flicks cards. This was one of those, like everyone always talks about, like what set would you rebuy, like if you want. I always wanted a full set of the original Sports Flicks, and I finally went on eBay, and I found it for like 35 bucks. I'm just like, you know what? I gotta have the set. Like I always wanted the set when I was a kid. I can afford 35 bucks, so I bought the set.
That's awesome. Once a card collector, always a card collector,
Yes, sir.
especially on the nostalgic stuff.
Aaron, do you have any stickers at all or anything? Do you guys have stickers for your podcast yet?
I don't think we have any
Come on, look
stickers.
at
We
this.
should.
I
Oh,
mean,
we should have stickers.
yeah,
You know, a
like
good laptop sticker. That's what I'm all about.
I've got one of these hanging up.
Oh, look at
The
that.
Look, and
classic.
Jeremy, look, I had to tape the two together because it's actually two stickers, but
Look at that.
I didn't want half of his head
It's
being hidden
a great
on my
sticker
wall
idea.
of
I'm sure he
sticker. Yeah,
appreciates that.
yep. So I've got
Fantastic.
my card ladder, my show your slabs, my strong slab, and here
We got to
here's
send him a sticker. We
yep.
got to make them and then send him a sticker.
Here, I'm gonna show you my. This is like the Expo Hall of Fame here. So here, this is the Mayor of Canada. Got my Rich Barone. He'll
Look
be
at this.
there. Um, here's Carlos. Sign there.
Look at that. Yep.
I
Got to
got
class it all up.
my sports card live, where he was nice enough to jokingly say I'm a designer, because I constantly have to correct him because he always says I design the cards, and I always tell him I don't. Here's my Francois card.
Look at that.
Here's
That's fantastic.
Now I know you're gonna think that this is Mario Lemieux, but
The
this is
Amit
my boy
rookie.
Meat. Yep, the
Right.
Meat rookie.
Right. Yep.
And
Infamous.
I got my Sal Berry
Look at that.
Pocky Junk. Not to promote other people's
No,
podcasts. I'm
no, it's
sorry.
No, we
okay. I
love it.
mean, we're talking about the Hall of Fame here. You know,
And
got to
then
get the best of the best in.
this is my favorite card I have up there now. I was looking for, like, I was rebuilding a set, and I was looking for Fleer inserts and stuff. And I'm looking like the most like I'll type in on eBay like Fleer insert, and then I'll put like most expensive to kind of like, okay, what's
I love
selling well?
searching by most expensive. It's my
Yeah,
favorite
and
activity.
I see this card, and I'm like, Gene's got a card, and then I was like, hey Gene, I go, I'm looking to redo this design. Like I totally set her up. I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm
yeah.
looking to redo this design. Like, what do you think? And I scroll down, and she's like, oh my gosh, you. And
Did
she's like,
she know? I
she
assume she did know,
oh,
but
she goes, I have some of those at my.
oh, that's
I'm like,
great.
Gene, I want one,
You
and
got to sign one. Yeah.
I should have her sign it.
Yes.
Uh, she made me take
Tomorrow.
off all the bio stuff on the back because she doesn't want people to know
Right, right.
all the information. But
That makes sense.
she
But yeah, get her to
and then
sign it. That'd be fantastic.
Jason comes down. He's like, what are you doing giving Billy that card? Because it's an expensive card. Like, look it up if you guys ever get bored. Look
I
and see how much it is.
I've
It ain't.
never That's crazy though. I
It
wouldn't
ain't cheap.
imagine, but
Yeah,
I mean
no,
anything for jeans, so that's great.
they're super rare, and so yeah, I have it just hanging up in my desk.
That's great.
I'll put her next. I'll make it look like Rich is looking at her, like he's facing that way. I had to put them all back up. So yeah, I have some fun stuff. I have my, and then I got my blasted Billy card. We have a Goodwin champion. Pat put this on my desk. Got my Billy the Kid card on
Oh,
my
that's great.
thing. Yep. So now you've seen all the stuff. I'm trying to. Oh, I have this here too. They don't do this anymore, but best hockey
That's awesome.
product.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, that's fantastic.
Tony's got one too.
No big deal or anything. Just have that casually just sitting there.
Yep. Anything else that's
That's
cool
great.
here?
I didn't
No.
expect the conversation to go this way, but I'm glad it did.
Oh, I got this, but you guys wouldn't let me put it on screen.
Right.
But
Yeah,
got
you're
my
gonna get kicked out now.
Yeah, I don't know if that's allowed on here, but like we'll allow just about anything except
All
for
right.
the big foam finger of the Red Wings. That's probably where we draw the line.
Gotcha.
Well, we'll wrap it up with that. Thanks so much for your time as always, Billy. We really appreciate it and your insight as always. So that'll do it for this episode. As always, please be sure to follow us on social media. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Sunrise Cardcast and on Twitter at Sunrise CC. Please also be sure to subscribe to the show on your podcast platform of choice to make sure you never miss a future episode. Until next time on Sunrise Cardcast, keep collecting those hockey cards.